Alright, and hello everybody, I'm the SweetBro27 and welcome to another Dokkan battle video. Today we are in the EZA area for STR Kefla. Now there is something that I want to note real quick before we get started. So she actually has several sub-EZAs with her at the moment. So as you see here, we are going to be going over Hit, Kefla, Kale, Caulifla, and Vados. But so you don't have to grind this event so many times, there are actually designated missions right here where you not only do you get Hercule Platinum statues and Silver statues for EZAing these characters, just by beating the certain stages, you get enough medals to fully EZA and sub-EZA every single one of these characters, which is phenomenal, meaning that this is not going to be like a very monotonous, taking forever grind. It's going to be super simple, super easy. You know the deal. By grinding these, you're going to get 33 stones, 30 by mission, beating it, and then you actually get the missions right there by doing it. She here is week 2 tournament participants. So this is the team that we are rocking out with. We're bringing Kale and then just a lot of U6 on the team. So we have a lot of characters to get with. That's why I'm actually starting on stage 9. Oh, and one more thing that I do want to make a quick announcement of is you may or may not be able to tell from this image right here, but her SSR art was slightly altered. You can see it very well in like the information page where you actually can click to see like all the stuff that's going on for the celebration. It is much more noticeable how her SSR art, it's primarily her eyes is what's a little bit different, and they did slightly round her face out just a smidge, so go look at that if you're interested. But let's go ahead and get started into the EZAs. Again, that's the whole reason we're here. So let's start off with INT Hit. So his leader skill is enemies lose 40% attack and defense. That has to be one of the worst leader skills I've ever seen. So obviously you're not going to want to run this guy as a leader skill in anything. Like, even I would take a nuking leader skill over that. Like that's so bizarre too. It's very odd, but let's carry on. And most of these kits I'm going in completely blind. I do know what Kefla does, but the rest of the characters I don't. But I'm very excited because I'm hoping that this will be like a revival of U6, because U6 is one of my favorite categories, mostly because I just like Kale so much. So really quickly, I just got to button mash this and okay. So he greatly raises attack and defense 1 turn, supreme damage, and then has a 50% chance to stun the enemy. That's not bad. He gets 2 key and 160% attack and defense at the start of turn. He disables enemies' guard. I still am not entirely sure what that means. If that just means he's super effective against all types, or if the entire rotation would not have to worry about type disadvantage. I'm not entirely sure. He gets an additional 160% attack and defense when performing an attack. He gets an additional 60% attack and defense and a high chance of performing a crit when performing a super attack. He has a great chance of stunning the attacked enemy. When an enemy is hit by this character's super attack, he has a 50% chance to dodge for the duration of that turn. Ooh, disables enemy action once within the turn every time this character attacks 2 or more times in battle. Oh, he's good. Obviously, he's not good against AoE, so right now, like, the global meta, he's not going to be good in it, because right now, global, we're in a very AoE-focused meta. But he's getting 50% chance to dodge on super attack. He gets an attack break with attacking twice. So you just give this guy a little bit of an additional. Like, it doesn't have to be a super. It's just disables the attacked enemy's next action once within the turn every time this... Yeah, just give him additional and dodge. He doesn't really need crit, even though he is getting a lot of stats. 160 at the start of turn, another 160 when attacking, and then an extra 60 with a 50% chance of being a crit when he launches a super. That's amazing. He's going to be also amazing in Super Battle Road. He has a 50% chance to stun on super attack effect. He has a 70% chance to stun in his passive. He's doing a lot of stuff. And then again, just being a dodging unit, so he can be a floater. He can go into slot 2. Very, very good kit. That's something that we like to see. Now, the thing is, I don't actually know what the STR Hit or STR Kale do. I have no idea. I haven't looked into their kits, whatever. I just know that they're very good. So I'm going to be interested to see who's better between this hit and the STR one that'll be coming to global probably within 4 months. It was like right around whenever Harudegarn came out. So either slightly before or slightly after the Harudegarn celebration. So, in terms of his links, Supreme Warrior, Experienced Fighter, Cold Judgment, End Fighter, Warriors of Universe 6, Shocking Speed, and Shattering the Limit. He actually has some good links, too. Cold Judgment, U6 and shocking speed. Not bad. Infighter is decent, I guess. Shattering the limit is very common. Experienced Fighters is common as well, even though it's just an attack stat. And then Supreme Warriors is a little bit more niche, but I feel like you could get some utility out of that, mayhaps. And then he's on Universal Survival Saga, U6, Target Goku, Rapid Growth, Space Traveling Warriors, Legendary Existence, Accelerated Battle Tournament Participants, and then the big one, Super Bosses. So he is a big buff to Super Bosses, but he's an even bigger buff to U6. And let's be real, most of U6 is actually on Super Bosses, so we might as well just call Super Bosses U6 until Broly drops. So very good with Hit. Again, they've been killing it with sub EZAs recently. This is a very, very good kit. So let's go ahead and go on to Caulifla here. Now Caulifla, she is U6 or Peppy Gauss 3 key and 130 to stats. So she's actually slightly better than most sub EZA. She's doing 130 instead of 120. She stacks attack and defense. She causes supreme damage to the enemy and greatly lowers defense. Utility, we love it. She gets 160% attack and defense at the start of turn. She gets an additional attack, defense, and chance to dodge per Universe 6 Peppy Gal. I read that wrong, excuse me. So she gets 8% attack, defense, and chance to dodge per U6 or Peppy Gal category on the team. That does stack. So if you have characters who are both Peppy Gals and U6, she's getting 16% attack, defense, and dodge. And that does include herself. So even if you run her on a team by herself, at the bare minimum, she's getting that 16% chance to dodge. She evades enemy super attacks when there is a Universal Survival Saga or Pure Saiyan category enemy. We already knew that. That's why she's so good against like Broly or like pretty much anytime that there's a Pure Saiyan enemy, you're going to want to bring her just because she's safe in any possible situation. All allies get 16% attack for 2 turns after 6 or more attacks have been evaded in the battle when there are 6 or more Universe 6 category allies on the team. So for 2 turns, 16% attack support after dodging 6 times on the Universe 6 team. I feel like that's not necessarily the hardest thing to get, but only 16% attack for 2 turns, that's not like a big buff. That's not really important. But I guess it is still nice, just to boost up the rest of the team. Let's see. She gets an additional 160% attack and launches a guaranteed super attack when there's a character whose name includes Kale in the turn. And that's good, too, because she is stacking. And 160 is nothing to sneeze at. So, yeah, Caulifla is pretty good, too. Saiyan Lineage, Saiyan Warrior Race, Battlefield Diva, Prodigies, Warriors of U6, Tournament of Power, and Fierce Battle. So, most of the time when you're running this character, you're going to be running it against a Pure Saiyan or a Universal Survival Saga category enemy. But nowadays, because I'm trying to think, you run her on the entire team. Kale, hold on, I'm running through what the team would be. So it would be Kale, this character, Hit, Vados, Kefla, and I currently think that the next best unit I could run would probably be Ribrianne, LR Ribrianne. So that would be 16 for Ribrianne, 16 for Vados, 16 for Kefla, 16 for Kale, 16 for herself, and then 8 for Hit. I don't know how many numbers that is, but somebody add that up. That has to be above a guaranteed dodge. If you're running her with that team lineup, she has to be already at 100% dodge, for sure, or very close to it. It's going to be very hard for this character to get caught. So that is good. That's a very good kit. Again, very solid for a sub EZA. Her links are very good as well. She can kind of go... Like, she has some links that could kind of make her work with Peppy Gals, except not really. I mean, Battlefield Diva, I guess. But then, obviously, she has links to make her work on her own team, on tournament participants, just on a lot of teams. Very good. And then Peppy Gal, Universal Survival Saga, Pure Saiyan, Universe 6, Rapid Growth, Gifted Warriors, Bond of Friendship, Tournament Participant, and Super Bosses. Very, very good. All right. STR Kale is Pure Saiyans or Peppy Gals, 3 key and 130% to stats. She also stacks attack and defense, supreme damage to the enemy, and greatly lowers defense. All right, so she has the same super attack effect as Kefla. So let's see here. She gets 160% attack and defense at the start of turn. She gets an additional 16% attack and defense and a chance of performing a crit plus 6% per Pure Saiyan or Peppy Gal category ally on the team. Okay, that's way worse. That is... She's getting higher stats, but crit is nowhere nearly good as dodge, unless she gets... Okay, let's just carry on. I don't want to be too negative. Launches an additional super attack when there's a Universal Survival Saga or Pure Sand category enemy. Yeah, guaranteed super is not the same as guaranteed dodge. Alright, so Kale so far isn't impressing me too much. Launches an additional super attack when there are 6 or more Universe 6 category allies on the team. That's good. She gets an additional 160% attack and defense and guards all attacks when there's a Caulifla attacking the same turn. So she's a guard character. 160 there. 160 there. She can get a lot of defense per Pure Sand. But I don't know. She's definitely much weaker. I'm not going to say she's bad. She is doing a lot of stuff, which is good. She's not giving any support anywhere, which I find a little bit weird. Yeah, she's very oriented against... She's going to be like a very tanky unit and trying to do like a lot of damage with her, like her massive build-up crit. But I don't know. Pure Sands and Peppy Gals, I don't think is a way worse restriction than U6, believe it or not. Just because we're going to look at her link set here in a second. And she wants to have a Caulifla on the team. You're not running Kefla or Caulifla on Pure Sands, I don't think. When you have options with Gokus, Vegetas, all of them, I don't necessarily know how that would work out. She's not bad, but I think she's probably the most mid character we've seen thus far. So for her links, Sand Lineage, Sand Warrior Race, Battlefield Diva, Solid Support, Warriors of Universe 6, TOP, Fierce Battle, and then she's on Peppy Gals, Universal Survival Saga, Pure Sand, Universe 6, Rapid Growth, Bond of Friendship, Tournament Participant, and Super Bosses. Alright, now for the last sub-EZA, we have Vados, who is Universe 6, 3 key, and 130 stats. Massively raises attack and defense for 1 turn. That's 100%. Supreme damage to the enemy, lowers attack, and seals. Alright, Super Battle Road, Battlefield, ESPR. That's a lot of tricks. And 100% start a turn. That's good. That's good. Alright, let's see. So she gets 160% attack and defense on super attack. She has a 70% chance to dodge. Damn. Okay. She gets an additional 60% attack and defense within the same turn after evading an attack. Alright, so she's like UI Goku. U6, Realm of Gods, Sibling Bond, or Bond of Master and Disciple category allies 1 key and 20% attack and defense. U6, which is now like a relevant team. Realm of Gods, so like Fusion Zamasu. Sibling Bond, you have the TOP androids. And Bond of Master and Disciple, you have Orange Piccolo. Those are all like top 10 teams in the game. And her dodge isn't restricted. Thank God her dodge is not restricted. She's just a 70% chance to dodge who buffs U6, Realm of God, Sibling Bond, Master and Bond and Disciple. Orange Piccolo, you can run her. Sibling Bond, you can run her. Damn. Okay. Recovers 40% HP if HP is 60% or less at the start of turn once only. And randomly changes key spheres of a certain type to rainbow key spheres at the start of turn. There's a U6 or Realm of God category ally attacking the same turn. So she'll only heal once, but if you have a U6 or Realm of Gods, every turn she'll be rainbow orb changing. She's cracked. She's actually cracked. That's insane. What the hell? 100% attack and defense on super attack. Lowers enemy defense and seals, so she's going to be good in like literally all content. 70% chance to dodge. She's a great support. She's like, if Fasha, or not Fasha, I always say Fasha. If Chilai and Demon Goddess Toa fused, because Demon Goddess Toa has that ridiculous heal and support buff. She's got the rainbow orb changing. She's a 70% chance to dodge character. She doesn't have a scouter, but she's supporting all relevant teams. Oh my good. She's actually so good. She is so good. Okay. I don't know if I would necessarily say she's better than Chilai, because Chilai, she's also 70% chance. She heals, she rainbow orb changes, plus she has a scouter. But the thing is with Chilai, a lot of times you have to run her without a leader skill, or you run her with like Fusion Zamasu or whatever. I mean, you can run her without a leader skill, you just have to be lucky. You can run her on 4 of the best teams in the game, and she's going to be buffing them. I mean, 1 key isn't great, and only 20% attack and defense isn't like the biggest support out there. But 70% of the time, she's going to be fine. And I guarantee you, if she can super first and dodge and attack first, she's going to be double-digit tanking, probably. Especially if she launches additional. She's insane. And I guess you will probably want to run her more so on U6 or in Realm of God so you can get the Rainbow Orb changing part of her passive. Dude, running Fusion Zamasu with her and Chilai as floaters. Oh my god, Fusion Zamasu just got so good. Fusion Zamasu is actually so good now. I'm going to have to make a video running them together. I'm very excited about this Vados, dude. This is absolutely the best character in the video so far. But let's look at her links. She has the Innocence, Brainiac, Solid Support, Cold Judgment, Shocking Speed, Godly Power, Fierce Battle. Alright, so her links are a bit... Like, Brainiac's is good, but... She would have that with Orange... not Orange Piccolo. She would have that with, like, Bulma. She would have that with Beast Gohan. Solid Support. I can't think of a good character. I think Orange Piccolo might actually have Solid Support. Cold Judgment. A lot of Bottom Master and Disciple characters have that. Shocking Speed. A lot of Realm of Gods have that. Godly Power, the same thing. A lot of Realm of Gods. So her links kind of work on any team except for maybe Peppy Gal, but she would have Brainiacs with Bulma. So you could do that, I guess, as a rotation. And then her categories: Realm of Gods, U6, Sibling Bond, Bottom Master and Disciple, and Space Traveling Warriors. Wow. Okay. Vados, again, best unit so far. All of these units have been very good. None of them have been bad. Like, even though I think Kale has been the worst so far, I think Kale is probably runnable. You just have to float her or put her wherever, like, the least amount of harm is, you know? I don't think she's going to be, like, reliably tanking anything. I don't think she's going to be getting to really impressive defensive stats. But if she can get guard all the time and super attack first, she'll be decent. But now time for the main event. This is STR Kefla, who leads U6 or Rapid Growth, 3 key and 170 to stats. You're not really going to want to run her as a leader, I don't think, because you can run dual Kale now. And Kale is so good. Like, so many of these characters can probably, like, Kefla or Caulifla can go into slot 1. Vados can go into slot 1. Kale could, like, the base form Kale can maybe go into slot 1. If you're running Ribrianne in certain circumstances can go into slot 1. A lot of options, so that can go into slot 1. So this is going to be like, Kale is going to be cooking. I'm probably going to make a video with Kale just because I really do enjoy that unit. So you could run 2 Kales, but I do kind of know what this character does. And this character, I think, is explosive enough, is powerful enough, is good enough that you could warrant running 2 of them. I do actually think this character is that powerful. But pretty decent overall. Rapid Growth is a little bit underpowered, but U6 at this point. Again, both of these are kind of like weaker categories, but these did get massive buffs during the Super Bosses category, like, event. It's funny how, like, every single category is getting a buff except for, you know, Goku Black, the main headliner unit, he is not cooking too well. He's a good unit, though. I don't want to shit on him. I mean, I did summon for him, and I did want him and everything, but he did not follow the hype that Beast Gohan fulfilled, or, like, you know what I mean? But enough rambling. Let's go ahead and start talking about what she can do. So, she greatly stacks attack on her super attack, raises defense for 1 turn, immense damage to the enemy, and lowers defense. Alright, again, a lot of utility, attack stacking. She's going to get to really impressive attack stats. You'll see later why. Only raises defense isn't like isn't too much, you know, 30%. It would be better if it were the other way around, but you'll see later on her kit, she'll probably be fine anyway. I think this character is just like an evolution of what God Goku was doing. And, like, that's probably one of the highest praises I can give a character just because of how much I love God Goku. So her passive is she gets 1 key, 200% defense at the start of turn. She gets 200% attack and an additional 100% defense when performing a super attack. She gets an additional 150% attack and a high chance of dodging with 3 or more key spheres obtained. She launches an additional super attack with 6 or more key spheres obtained, and then she transforms when her conditions are met, which is just turn 3. So, with 3 orbs, now with 3 orbs, God Goku is a 60% chance to dodge character, and if you give him 6 orbs, he's guarding. Kefla, she is only a 50% chance to dodge with 3 orbs. She does get that massive attack buff, but if you give her the 3 extra orbs, instead of guard, she's launching a guaranteed super attack, which means she's getting an extra 30% defense and permanently stacking an extra 50% offense. So this character is going to build up much faster offensively than God Goku. I think it's probably going to be more reliable than him. Only time will tell. She does have very high defense at the start of the turn. I am a big fan of what this character is doing. So let's look at her link. Same warrior race, battlefield diva, fused fighter, power bestowed by God, warriors universe 6, tournament of power, fierce battle. All right, so her links are a little bit weird. So fused fighter and power bestowed by God, that's like, those are like the Potara links. So you could work like maybe with AGL Vegito, or I don't think you would really want to run her on the fused fighter team and run her alongside the full power Super Saiyan 4 just because she's not crossover or Giant 8 power. You could do that though, I guess, just to get those links activated. Although they're really not too important. They're like, you get an extra, let's see. So with both of those links, you get 15% attack, 5% defense, and 2 key. That's not too great. She does have some Saiyan links, obviously, but then she also has the Universe 6 link. She has the Tournament of Power link. She has a Peppy Gal link. So her links are kind of all over the place. So if you run her on U6, you will be able to get most of these activated. But if you're trying to run her on any other setup there, it's going to be a little bit wonky. And the reason I say on a different setup is because she's on literally a billion teams. Peppy Gal, Universal Survival Saga, Potara, Full Power, Transformation Boost, Universe 6, Super Saiyan 2, Final Trump Card, Rapid Growth, Time Limit. Ooh, Time Limit. That's a big buff for them. Accelerated Battle, Power Beyond Super Saiyan, Fused Fighter, Tournament of Power, Super Bosses. Again, literally, she is a buff to like so many teams. She's so good. She's so reliable. The links are going to be the only thing that maybe might be a little bit of a hindrance, but I don't really think that matters too much. So on turn 3, she is going to guaranteed transform into STR Kefla, or the Super Saiyan Kefla, excuse me. So she still greatly stacks attack on her super attack, still raises defense amidst damage to the enemy, and greatly lowers defense. Does her super attack effect not change in between forms? Yeah, it stays exactly. No, she greatly lowers defense instead of just normal lowering defense. So I guess, again, once we get like this 9th anniversary content, there are some events where you can actually debuff defense. So I feel like that does actually warrant its place there. So her new passive, she gets 2 key and 250% defense at the start of turn. She gets 250% attack plus an additional 100% defense on super attack. She gets an additional 150% attack and then a 50% chance to dodge with 2 key spheres. So already more reliable. Then she gets an additional 50% defense with 4 or more key spheres obtained, and then launches a guaranteed additional super attack with 6 more key spheres attained, and then transforms when conditions are met, which is just the next attacking turn. So you're guaranteed to have one form of Super Saiyan Kefla. It's not necessarily guaranteed that you will have, like if she's on slot 7, you'll instantly transform into Super Saiyan Kefla, who is really good. Again, she is slightly more reliable because, you know, there are some instances where, like, I feel like it's incredibly rare where you can only get 1 orb. But that can happen. But getting 2 orbs, she's already 50% dodging. 4 orbs, she's going to be a little bit more tanky. And then, you know, she's still super attacking. Her attack stat at this point is going to be wild. She does get the Super Saiyan link that Super Saiyans gets rid of Saiyan Warrior race. So her link set does change just a tiny bit when she does transform, which is, I don't know. Super Saiyan isn't necessarily better than the Saiyan Warrior race. I mean, it gives her a higher attack buff, but I feel like more characters actually have Saiyan Warrior race, so it may be a little bit harder to get, especially if you're running her like on Power Beyond Super Saiyan and not just like the Super Saiyan team. But again, that doesn't really matter. Her link set, I don't feel like matters too much because she'll get at least 1 link on any team that you run her on because, again, she's just on a billion teams. She's a grab bag of all characters. But now, Super Saiyan 2 Kefla, her new super attack effect is she greatly raises attack, raises defense for 1 turn, immense damage to the enemy, and then massively lowers defense. That's a 100% defensive drop. So that's insane. She gets 3 key and 260% defense at the start of turn. She gets 260% attack and an additional 120% defense when performing a super attack. She has a 50% chance to dodge, just baseline. She gets an additional 160% attack and 60% defense with 2 key spheres obtained. She launches an additional attack with 4 or more, an additional super attack with 4 or more key spheres obtained. She launches another additional super attack and a chance to crit and a chance of dodging a including super attack plus 20% with 6 more key spheres obtained. So let's just buckle that down. She gets 6 orbs, okay? She is a 70% chance to dodge. She is a 20% chance to crit, all right? She's launching 2 guaranteed additional supers. She's getting 60% defense here, 160% attack here. That's great. So this part, I honestly think that this kit right here, so of course this is like turn 5 at the earliest, but I'm actually like kind of thinking she's one of the best characters on Global at the moment. I definitely think Super Saiyan 2, I think she's better than Goku Black by like a mile. And I'm really thinking like, do I think she's better than like the GT Duo? Like, I know that might be crazy because the GT Duo, like their revive is insane, but looking forward a little bit to the 9th anniversary, we're getting way better revive characters in MUI Goku and Evolution Blue Vegeta. So I don't think their revive is still necessarily going to be necessary. They are still good. They're still very good characters. They're still very powerful offensively, defensively, or whatever. They can get up to 50% damage reduction or whatever. But again, this is an evolution of what God Goku does. And like, I don't exactly remember where I placed him on my top 10 or my top 50 summonable units, but I had him near the top 10, or he was somewhere in the top 10 contingency. And I just think this character is way, way better in almost every single way. Maybe turn 1 God Goku would be slightly better just because he has an extra 10% chance to dodge. I don't know. I really do think that this character is way better. I do. So I am kind of conflicted, but like I really do. I may be crazy. I don't know. I've seen people comparing her to like STR UI Sign. I don't know how I feel about that necessarily, but like she is incredible and I don't want to see any slander of this character. She is amazing. And she does have an active skill, which is a little mediocre. So she changes physical key spheres to STR key spheres, and then she becomes super effective against all types for 1 turn. So the thing is, like with active skills, I believe how it works is that at the moment they can't actually change. They can change like the requirement or like the effect or whatever. I don't know. They can't like change what it actually does, essentially. Like that, there would have to be like an entire app update for it, which is a little bit weird that they haven't done it. This game is 9 years old. I feel like they could theoretically just, when they're already doing a data download or a maintenance server update or whatever, just add that. That way some of these older active skills and some of these older characters can become like really crazy again. So is that good? Yeah. So it's kind of funny because, like, again, so many comparisons to God Goku. God Goku, he orb changes for the first 5 turns or whatever it is, and then he wears off. So if you ran these two on the same turn together, like, God Goku could kind of be buffing both of them, and then later in the fight, when he loses his ability to orb change, she could orb change, and then you could get God Goku his 6, or her 6, or whatever you would really want to do. You would probably want to prioritize this character because she's better, or maybe you want to prioritize God Goku just because he is a little bit worse. Being super effective against all types is nice. I would probably prefer guaranteed crit, but she is already getting 20% crit here. I just think overall crit is slightly better than super effective against all types, just in case an enemy has damage reduction or has like maxed out defense. Super effective against all types, as far as I'm aware, doesn't work that way. So if like crit and damage, or excuse me, crit and super effective against all types would do the same amount of damage against a character, but if there's damage reduction involved, crit goes through damage reduction when super effective against all types doesn't. I think it just does extra damage that then gets reduced by the damage reduction, if that makes sense. I don't know. I think it works like how Pokemon does. I could be entirely wrong. I have no idea. But enough of that. The condition for it is if there is a Pure Saiyan or a U6, or excuse me, Universal Survival Saga category enemy. Only once. All right, so never mind. I didn't realize it was that. I thought it was an ally, but it's a Pure Saiyan or Universal Survival Saga category enemy. So again, 9th anniversary, that will be relevant because there is like the UI fight, there's the SSBE fight. Those are both Pure Saiyan and U6, so I guess that doesn't necessarily matter too much at the moment. What are some other like difficult fights that could theoretically use that? There's like a Broly event now, I'm pretty sure. Like a new Broly event, you could do that there. I have no idea. But overall, all of these are amazing. If I had to rank them in order, it's Kefla, Vados, Caulifla, Hit, and Kale. But you run Dokkan Fest Kale, STR Kefla. Like, is that 6? Because you have Kale, Hit, Kefla, Kale, Caulifla, and then STR Kale. Yeah, that's 6. you could have a full team right there. Or there's also Boda Magetta. I haven't EZA'd them yet. I just never got around to doing the sub EZAs for Hit. But I'm pretty sure Boda Magetta is pretty decent. LR Ribrianne is actually pretty decent just because of her giant form. If you're able to kind of float her and keep her safe, her condition is pretty decent. It's turn 4 under 66% HP with a Universe 6 or Power of Wishes category ally on the team, or just turn 6 with no HP restriction. And again, she's actually quite effective. She does orb change a lot as well. She just can't really go into slot 1, and she does really need to get all of her additionals to become any sort of tanky. But I have her at 55%, and I did kind of regret summoning on that banner. I did summon for it off screen in hopes of maybe getting Bulma, because Bulma was featured. But I'm not too butthurt over getting over Ribrianne. I've had a little bit of fun using her, and I did recreate the funny truth meme on my live stream. I posted that VOD the other day, so if you haven't checked that out, please do. So there is only one more stage left we have to beat, and then we can actually be done with this. So I'm going to manually take over. That way I can just collect the best amount of orbs possible, and hopefully, I don't know if we can necessarily one-turn this. Maybe if Kale pops off, this is the friend Kale, so maybe the friend Kale has a very offensive build. Mine has a super defensive build. But I do just kind of want to show them all being easy at the same time. Also, I'm going to take a sip of my drink, so I apologize if the sound's kind of loud. I don't know how long I've been talking for. This video is much longer than I thought it would be. I started on stage 9. I thought I would have to stop the recording to talk about the characters, but no, I was able to rant and rabble and go on for 5 characters. Because all of them, again, were very good. I just wish maybe, you know, they actually helped Goku Black a little bit more. I understand that, like, all of them are either on... Well, the thing is, Vados isn't. Vados isn't on Super Bosses. She is on ROG, which is part of Goku Black's 200%, but he's Corroded Body and Minds as the other one. So I guess you could run Zamasu, like Zamasu's team, and then have Goku Black on there, and then have Vados on there as well. But like Kefla's Super Bosses, Kale is Super Bosses, Caulifla. I always bounce back and forth on how I want to pronounce this character's name. Caulifla, whatever. I don't think it matters. I think Caulifla sounds the best, but it looks more like Caulifla. It's been a while since I watched the anime, so I don't actually know how they pronounced it there. And I think it's different between JP and like the Ian version of it. But she's on Super Bosses. Hit is obviously on Super Bosses. Although this is Hit, I believe. Yeah, he doesn't have the TOP link. So this is actually him from the U6 arc, which is interesting. But yeah. So really quickly wrapping it up. All right, TEQ Kale and Caulifla, are you going to wrap this up? See, it's easy when you say TEQ Kale and Caulifla, because then Caulifla just kind of flows out the tongue, but just saying Caulifla by itself is a bit difficult. I want to know, does anybody relate to that? Or are there just certain words that you can say in a phrase that are easy, but then outside of that, you have difficulties? I don't know. I'm probably just being a little bit weird. So let's collect this, get all of our stones, so we can kind of recover financially from the hole that was Goku Black. I kind of really want to go back on Goku Black just because of how good his banner was. And I really do want to get a copy of him just because he is so cool. But there are all the medals. So let's go over and start awakening these guys. But that will be all for now, guys. I've been the SweetBro27. I'm a variety Twitch streamer and an up-and-coming YouTuber trying to make it big in the world. I have a Twitter, a Twitch, a TikTok, and a YouTube, the links of which can be found in the description of this video or via my hashtag SweetBro27. And since you're already looking down there, you might as well go ahead and like, subscribe, share me around, and leave me a comment, positive, negative, or indifferent. I would love just any sort of interaction from you guys. Global players, have you messed around with this character? Is she fun? Do you enjoy it? Like, let me know what's going on through your brain. And I'm actually, am I not going to have enough to awaken? No, I do. Okay. Whew. I panicked for a second there that it wouldn't be enough, but there we go. It actually does give you enough to awaken all the characters. But yeah. Let me know, are you running these characters? Have you been enjoying this global exclusive celebration? Because I know I have, and I'm looking forward to doing like all the red zone missions and everything else. There's a lot to do, so I have a lot that I have to catch up on, so I need to hurry up and wrap this up so I can get started with that. But that will be all for this time, guys. So as always, I've been the SweetBro27, and I am signing off.